Assalamu'alaykum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah, thanks so much for the for
Wahi
for
wabarakatuh.
welcoming me. Yeah. Bismillah. Assalamu'alaykum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, my dear respected brothers and sisters. I welcome you all to this webinar, which is the first we'll be having in Namets. So Namets, the it stands for National Association of Muslim Engineering and Technology Students, precisely with the students in the University of Ilorin. And the aim of the organization is to see to the academic and Islamic excellence of every engineering student. And in response to this, we thought of having this program, which is themed After School What's Next? Surviving the Outside World as a Muslim graduate. This it's actually as a result of what happens to every graduate. Like the first thing they ask themselves is, "What's next? What do I do next after school?" and all. So we hope to suggest from the wealth of experience of our esteemed guests to the graduates on how they can navigate their graduation path. Ithnillah. We ask Allah to make this session beneficial and to to make the session go well, inshallah. So with this, without further ado, I'd like to hand over to the moderator so that I can proceed with
All
the
right.
discussion, inshallah.
Now, jazakumullah khairan to
I mean,
you, sir. And so right now, in order not to take any time at all, so inshallah, I'm going to be mentioning the names of our guest speakers and a little info about them. So the first person of our guest speaker is Engineer Jamiu Tomori, who is going to be discussing with us entrepreneurship and innovation in engineering. And the second person for the guest speaker is Engineer Dr. Abdulkareem Aduagba Ganiyu, and who is going to be talking about the navigating the job market. And the third person is Scholar Adedigba Muhammed, who is going to be discussing about navigating through postgraduate studies. So, inshallah, to start with, who is our first guest speaker? Our first guest speaker is our first guest speaker is uh, sorry, excuse me. So our first guest speaker is Engineer Jamiu Tomori, inshallah. And just to give a very short uh, bio of him, I'll have to mention a very short bio of him. So Engineer Jamiu Tomori is a registered engineer with over 14 years of practice experience, ranging from broadcast to IT to seismic, and now mostly electrical services and infrastructure. So he currently works as an engineer consultant with a Trustman and Tarsia Limited. So this is just a very short bio of our first guest speaker, and that is Engineer Tomori, inshallah. So I'm going to leave up the mic to him, who is going to spend 20 minutes to discuss with us with a very large experience he has acquired in this very field. So you have the mic, sir, and you're welcome.
Okay, Assalamu'alaykum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sir.
Okay, I
Assalamu
welcome everybody
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
to the webinar, and I must congratulate the organizers for thinking it necessary to have this event. First of all, I would like to share my screen. I don't know. Can I go ahead with that?
Absolutely, sir.
yes, sir, you can, sir, you can, sir.
Okay,
Go on, sir.
again. Give me a minute, please. I need to shut down some things. Okay. So, excuse me.
we're very sorry for the call out from Doctor's end. So I'm very sure he has joined back.
Oh, you are muted, sir. We can't hear you.
Can't hear you, sir.
Okay, sorry. I thought I was loud. I wasn't muted. Sorry. So I want to share screen. Just give me a minute, please.
All right.
So I believe you can all see the screen.
Yeah, it's just about to get shared. Absolutely not. It's very clear.
Yes, sir.
Can you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's very clear now.
Yes, sir. Yes, we can
Okay,
see.
thank you. So, well, I believe this is a workshop. Sorry, I know you call it a webinar, but in my own estimation, it's a workshop. And this is my full name as earlier presented. Now, the agenda for today's talk, if I may, is this. As said earlier, I would like to congratulate the organizers for deeming it fit to have this event. Now, there are so many rates and options for the engineering graduates as he goes forward. But one of the pathway that's been promoted most right now is for more and more of us to become entrepreneurs. Now, entrepreneurship has its own give and take, I must say. And it's important for us as engineers to understand this so that we will not fall into the common pitfalls that have forced people to have to give up on this quest. One of the best ways to develop a nation is to turn the nation into a nation of entrepreneurs and startups. So I must say it is commendable for us to look in this direction prior to graduation so that we can have our sight focused on it. This is one of the mistakes of some of our predecessors, including ourselves. Most of us were focused on the job and how to make ourselves job ready as we graduate. But times have changed, and the most important thing right now in the world is the role of the entrepreneurs and the difference they can make in bottom line for the nation. So my agenda today will be the introduction of the main concepts of innovation, entrepreneurship, the role of engineers in driving innovation, and the types of innovation that we have an innovation process, entrepreneurial mindset, the challenges and risks facing the engineer as entrepreneur, and some case studies of success to show us that there is really light at the end of the tunnel, gloomy as it may seem sometimes. Now, introduction of the main concepts of entrepreneurship and innovation. Entrepreneurship and innovation are closely related. In fact, a lot of people try and define it as intertwined. But in the individual that is involved in either of the two endeavors must be able to differentiate what he or she is doing. You can be an entrepreneur and you can be an innovator separate from being an entrepreneur. It is actually possible to be both in the body of an entrepreneur. While entrepreneurship is the process of creating, developing, and managing new business, it's basically about creating new ventures for the goal of making profits. Innovation refers to the process of creating and implementing something new or significantly improving upon existing ideas. Innovation is not exactly the same thing as invention. We must get this difference right. Majority of what we see today are not inventions, they are actually innovations, including some of the latest technology we see around us. The underlying principles have been invented, maybe some of them for hundreds of years or several years, decades back. But your ability to recombine existing stuff into new use case is what innovation is all about. So innovation can take many forms, from incremental improvement to groundbreaking inventions. It is not limited to the creation of tangible goods. You can actually create process and some other things apart from just because as engineers we are almost always focused on how can I create an object. We're always thinking about tangibles. But in reality, a lot of innovations that has defined our present way of life are actually innovations on processes, not necessarily on tangible objects. So we must get these two different perspectives. But we must know that they are really, really intertwined as we go along, and we will see it. Now, innovation, the entrepreneurship often involve the following concept, which includes innovation. So we sometimes see innovation as a subset of entrepreneurship. You can hardly break through as an entrepreneur if you don't have the will and the mindset to innovate, because you will just be recreating what exists and you cannot beat the people already in the game at it. So your only leeway to succeed is to innovate. So entrepreneurs often innovate ideas, products, or services to meet market needs or solve problems. And as engineers, you should know at this stage that the only need for an engineer is to solve problems. If we don't have any problem to solve, the engineers have no value. But we will always have problems to solve. That is the trust of your training. So the key things with entrepreneurs is to solve problem and meet some market gaps. Another real quality that entrepreneurship always involve is risk taking. A lot of risk taking. It is the reason why a lot of us and predecessors are finding it difficult to trade the entrepreneurship path. It is risky. Then the creativity that involves, you need to exhibit real creativity. That's really thinking through. You cannot just offer what exists already and expect yourself to make a cut in the market. Then you need to have considerable independence and autonomy. That you are not necessarily looking for someone to always give you a guide. You have to find your bearing yourself. Kind of, you have to have your own compass. Now, innovation involves mostly novelty from the name, actually, that you are creating something new or some new concept. You can see entrepreneurship is focused on the business. Innovation is focused on what you want to create. You want to improve something. Innovation can also entail enhancing existing solutions. So it doesn't necessarily always, as I said earlier, it doesn't necessarily always entail creating something new. You can actually add value to existing things and radically change the way people will use it, and it will be considered a great innovation. Then value creation and adaptation. You often need to adapt technology, which is the trust of it. How can you recombine existing technology in a way that solves problems that have persisted, that have not yet been solved, or solve an existing problem better? Then you need to create value in the process. You cannot just do something that serves no purpose. Okay, I want to create something for the future, which nobody really needs now. It has no value. So nobody will really appreciate it. Then you need to, innovation is a continuous process most of the time. You innovate in order to improve something or to start out something. You need to keep adding value because others will overtake you in time. So you need to constantly work on improving what you are doing. So by and large, the summary of it, you can innovate as a team member or employee within a firm, but you must innovate if you are the entrepreneur, especially if you are an emerging startup. You cannot start up because I need to let us understand startups are small firms that are trying to come to limelight with a product that most of which have not been tested before in the market. The only reason why anybody will pay attention to the things you are starting up is not because you are giving us what we already have. You can't do it as well as who have been doing it for years. They have established processing lines and manufacturing lines that can do better or established processes. So you must develop the ability to do better. So if you are going to come to market with something really innovative, like all the innovations we have around, like all the social media inventions and our the innovations in the fintechs, these are concepts that if you are not new, they are not novel, they will not have made any breakthrough or any cut in the market. So it's critical. Now, what is the role of engineers in driving innovation? I'm sorry, I'll be moving a bit fast because I have limited time and I have much to delve into in some aspects of this. The role of engineers in driving innovation. Engineers have unique skill sets and problem-solving abilities that are fundamental to innovativeness. So And it has been known and established that engineers play pivotal roles in driving innovation and advanced technology across various industries in the past and still happening today. The unique skill set that are critical for innovation are some of the things that you acquire by your training in school there, and some native instinct that you develop consequence of trying to be a better engineer, which is you must be able to transform ideas into reality. One of the limiting factors for all developing countries, and one of the real indices, and one of the real index we use in measuring the quality of education we are receiving anywhere in the world is how much of your research is actually being translated to products. There's an index for that I think I read some times ago, that the most developed country in the world, the US, as the most successful in this particular realm. That ideas in university will be incubated in the university, and scientists and engineers will develop concept in university, and within a few years, it will become a product in the market. This is critical for innovativeness. You have to be able to transform ideas into reality, not just do it as a project, close it up and throw it away or something like that, as we often do here. Then you have to develop the capacity to collaborate with others multidisciplinarily. Real life is not just electrical engineering or civil engineering or structural engineering or agricultural engineering. You must have understood that most of the useful things we do in real life is a collaboration of several fields, including sciences and then social science and everything. So your ability to collaborate with others is critical for innovativeness. Then you must be able to identify problems and analyze them correctly without dispassionately, if I must put it. You must have a basic instinct, which is part of the things they train you as engineers to be. The engineers are supposed to be very factual and not led by emotions. This thing is, if it's breaking down here, then this is the reason. It's not because of some beliefs that you want to put into it. Forget about your beliefs here. We are dealing with basic scientific principles that are, this is the way God has created the world to work. If you throw anything from the top of a building, it will drop to the ground. Nothing will hold it unless you put a barrier in between. You understand? So there are basic scientific principles that are factual that you must learn to identify. You must use to analyze things and make reasonable conclusion dispassionately. Then you have technical expertise, which is critical for all engineers to have. How to use this technology, these techniques, and things like that. These are things that are critical to innovativeness, because most of the innovations are a recombination of existing know-hows. So sometimes the reason why people can make progress is because they do not have maybe the necessary tool or a special skill set that is needed to close a particular gap. So engineers bring to the table considerable technical skill set and expertise, which is very, very important for innovation and innovativeness. The innovation in design and optimization is some of the things that have been taught in schools to all engineers. You will have been taught the design process. Now, learning the design process, understanding design process is critical to building new concepts in innovation. Now, the types of innovation are numerous. Okay, I made a mistake here. We innovate not just products, but processes. That's cut off. Forget about that. So, examples of innovations are product innovation, process innovation, business model innovation, services innovation, marketing innovation, sustainable or growing innovation, which has become very important now. I'll just take a brief, I'll talk briefly on each of them. Product is the common one that all of us are familiar with. I want to produce a new product. I want to produce maybe a battery or something that can solve a problem, usually a tangible. Process innovation sometimes is critical, especially for those who work in factory. The only difference between some outstanding performance between product is because some people innovated a better process, like Toyota innovated the just-in-time process. It's a process that makes them super efficient and make them the most efficient car manufacturing plant in the entire world because of a process, JIT, that they create, they evolve. So it makes them to produce much better product than all other car manufacturers. They do it so efficiently and economically that they make the most profit relatively. Then we have business model innovation. The model of your business can change. In the past, banking is put your money in the bank, the banks do for. But now, fintech has changed the banking model. Other things are service innovation. The way we render a particular service, we can decide to we can decide to innovate it afresh. In the past, the way telecom services offered is via wire. Wireless solved the problem, and we're taking it even for satellite now. Then we have the issue of market innovation. This is critical because ultimately the question is always on the bottom line. How much are you going to make? Because if whatever you are doing that cannot be sustained in the business sense, we eventually have to die out because you will not have the finance to sustain it. So every time there's a new product that people innovate, one of the things they innovate along with it is how to market it. Has anyone thought about how Apple has been able to market itself so well that most people around the world seem to consider Apple as a standard for excellence? It's all marketing. It's very smart marketing at that. Another thing that has become very critical today is for growing innovation. Whatever you are setting up now, people want to be sure, especially if you are going to take funding or get support from government, and regulations are coming more and more that wants everyone to become more responsible to the environment because of what we're experiencing now in global warming and environmental climate change. So whatever you're innovating now, in the past, it's sufficient to just use any kind of dirty technology to achieve this. Sorry, not anymore. Whatever you're innovating now must be sustainable, must be green, so to say, but not greenwashing, not just creating a pressure. It must be actually sustainable without harming the environment. There's a triple baseline that every product and process is checked against. Is it, they call it E, is it economically viable? Is it environmentally viable? And then it is the third E has to do with the people. It has to do with people. So I can't recall the exact phrase of it, but those three baselines are critical for all the things we do these days. Now, I'm running out of time. I'm conscious of that. Now, innovations process consists of ideation. This is the typical process innovation goes through: ideation, research and development, prototyping, testing and validation, and scaling. And then, this 5 processes can be expanded depending on what industry or niche you are working within, but this is basically what is almost always involved. Then other things we need to, going quickly through my agenda here, the entrepreneurial mindset. This is very critical. If you want to become an entrepreneur, look at all these principles and more. You will have to adapt it. I'm starting with risk taking for good reason. One of the reasons why almost all engineers, and it's quite unfortunate in Nigeria, a lot of our engineers are not into entrepreneurship for the simple reason of risk taking. We are trained to mitigate risk. We reduce risk. That's the reason for the factor of safety we put into construction and everything. We were trained, our mindset is programmed to mitigate risk. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that in the business space, especially for startups and entrepreneurship. You need to be risk. You need to entertain risk, of course, reasonably, but you need to be willing to take risk. Then you must innovate. You must show resilience and not just give up. You must adapt. Don't just be rigid. This is the way I want it done. I'm routinized. There are some of us like that. We just do things this way. I wake up 7 o'clock. I do this. No, you can't afford to do that as an entrepreneur. You change as the situation changes. You have to show some vision and take initiative as things come along. You must have the long view in sight and take initiative as they come along. Resourcefulness is critical. Otherwise, you will soon run out of resources, both human, material, whatever. You must know where to put what. Then you have to be persistent. It's a combination of resilience, but it's another perspective to it. Then you have to be customer centric. You cannot just be innovating just because I like something like this. Who is going to buy it? Who is going to pay for it? You must be customer centric focus, and then financial literacy is critical, especially for engineers, because you like it. It's not in your training. Self-confidence is ultimate, because you are going to be broken several times. You're going to be disappointed. They say more than 90% of all startups and entrepreneurs fail within the first 2 years. It's a fact. But people succeed. So why shouldn't we believe that we can succeed? But who fail? Some of the people who fail do what? They try again and succeed. We have examples. If we have time to read through, but we don't have such time within this short session to go through. Almost every successful entrepreneur failed. They have, most of them we have like maybe 3, 4, 5 that they've tried, then they succeed in 1 or 2, and it's okay. Then you need the self-confidence and continuous learning orientation. You need to develop the fact that it's not the concept of tabatic party school. We have finished school, we don't read again. You cannot become an entrepreneur and stop reading. You have to keep reading and reading and reading. Because you need to learn new things. You need to understand what is happening. You need to learn and unlearn old principles that don't work again and relearn. Entrepreneurs are the reason they are as busy learning as researchers, academic researchers, or even more because they learn broadly. Academic researchers learn deeply. They learn broadly and then go deep into what they are particularly interested in. But you need to learn broadly and deeply. So the length and breadth of learning, you need to be really keen about it. Then ethical and social responsibility is keen for you to stay in business as an entrepreneur. If you are not ethical, you are willing to do anything cut corners, you will soon run out of luck. And alhamdulillah, this is an Islamic gathering. We know the essence of our ethics and social responsibility. There are some red lines for us as Muslims. These red lines are very much applicable in the workplace too. We need to avoid unethical practices and sharp practices that put other people at risk or other things, please. Then the challenges and risks facing the engineers and entrepreneurs are peculiar. There are some that are generic challenges for all entrepreneurs. All entrepreneurs face the challenges of meeting up with those and the entrepreneurial mindsets and the requirements that come with it. But there are some that are very peculiar to us as engineers because of our training. We lack business acumen. The reason is because we are not trained to be businessmen in school. So you need to acquire this, either by reading, attending seminars, look for some other means. You can go for MBA after graduation. There are things that people do to become better businessmen and develop the financial literacy and understand the attendance risk with finances. Don't just take all your personal savings and put it in a very risky ventures and then end up broke. So that you don't even come back to level, you go sub-level after your entrepreneurial attempt. This is not wise and shows that you have not acquired reasonable financial literacy before delving into entrepreneurship. Then you need to learn marketing. Brothers and sisters, if you are going to be able to sell anything at all, you need to learn marketing. Whether even you are going to sit as CEO of any company, you need to learn marketing. It's a reality. You need to learn marketing. Ultimately, the most important thing is able to sell it to people. You need to learn marketing. Then scaling and growth. The limit of individualism. There's a critical trait that comes with all engineers. I am one, so I should know. It is this individual, the tendency for us to want to shine as individual, I want to succeed, I want to this individualistic tendency to get it done on your own. It doesn't always work if you are going to be a significant entrepreneur. You need to develop the ability to collaborate with others in order to grow and scale. Carry others along. As the saying goes that if you want to go fast, you can go alone. Mostly you won't even go very fast anyway. But if you really want to go far, you go with others. Then I want to give us some case studies of successful entrepreneurs that are engineers. A popular example is Elon Musk. He's an engineer with a degree in physics. He co-founded Zip2, later co-founded XCOM. Zip2 and some of his other it became PayPal in time. And you can see PayPal is now defunct. So you can know every entrepreneur have some. You invent, you do the best. Some of your, if you are not on your feet to move on, some of your ventures will eventually need to face up because time will overtake them. So, but you can see he keeps reinventing himself. He's now in SpaceX, he's in Tesla, which is now the future of automobiles. And he is at the head of it. And Neuralink, which is trying to use to put some electronic circuits to be able to solve some problems with human beings that have not been solved by medicine. And then the Boring company that's he founded the Boring company that's trying to create tunnels faster than the existing technology. Jeff Bezos is the former richest man in the world too. He's an electrical engineer and computer scientist, founded Amazon, and you can see what he has done with it. Then we have Larry Page and Sergey Brin, the two co-founders of Google. They actually stumbled upon Google during their PhD studies at Stanford. And then we have Steve Wozniak of Apple, who is the co-founder. The two Steves are the two co-founders, Steve Wozniak and Steve, what's the other Steve? Steve Jobs. Wozniak is the engineer, actually. Jobs is the marketer. Then we have Reid Hoffman, an electrical engineer who co-founded LinkedIn. All of us are, okay, sorry, this was repeated. So Hoffman is the electrical engineer he studied at Stanford and founded LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very popular for those of us. As you enter the workplace, you become more familiar with LinkedIn. It's a job network, as not just a social network. And I'm sure a lot of you probably have accounts with it already. So in conclusion, engineers have a distinctive edge in becoming innovative entrepreneurs. Your training gives you the advantage and bequests some limitations on you as a consequence as well. You must know that. However, engineers that want to trade this path must develop the needed mindset to succeed. The future and the winds of trends are in your favor if you want to seize it. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much, our doctor. We are so much grateful for the beautiful presentation and the beautiful experiences you've shared with us. We are very much grateful. Thank you, sir. For the next thing we have on the agenda is the next guest speaker, and our next guest speaker is Engineer Dr. Abdulkareem Aduagba Ganiyu, who is going to be discussing with us navigating the job market. Navigating the job market. So, inshallah, just a very short bio of him. Engineer, our doctor engineer is was engineer started at engineering career in 2007 at the Kwara State Ministry of Works as a mechanical engineer and in the road traffic division. So he is a corporate member of Nigerian Society of Engineers and registered with Council for Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, and that is COREN. So now, inshallah, our doctor engineer is going to be having the mic right now, and he's going to be speaking with us for 20 minutes, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan as you put the mic on, sir. Now, you have the floor, sir. So we're taking our time to wait for engineer. We are waiting for Dr. Engineer. We're waiting for him to put the mic on. Dr. Abdulkareem Aduagba Ganiyu. Okay, okay, we're going to be going for the next guest speaker. I had just get to know that Doctor is yet to be with us, but we are very sure he's going to be here before the next guest speaker finish speaking with us, inshallah. And the next guest speaker is Scholar Muhammed Adedigba. Scholar Muhammed Adedigba. So he's going to be talking with us he's going to be talking with us on the topic navigating through postgraduate study. Navigating through postgraduate study. And inshallah, a very short bio of him is that Scholar Muhammad Adedigba is a technical-oriented individual who is passionate about the architecture, engineering, construction, and operations (AECO) industry has over 2 years of experience applying his practical engineering acumen to solving problems in highly dynamic organizations, including Chevron, and also he held the position on the Namets Academic Committee in various capacity. So you welcome our Scholar Muhammad Adedigba. You have this floor for 20 minutes, sir. Okay, we are waiting for Scholar Muhammad Adedigba to be on the mic. So as we wait for him to join, the moment he joins, is going to come with that. So just a very slight thing before it comes around. Do we have any question regarding what our doctor just finished presenting to us? Is there any question? If there's a question, you can always unmute your mic and request to say something. Okay, yes, there's someone. Could you please unmute yourself and put a question, please?
Okay, Assalamu'alaykum. So please confirm you can hear me.
Yeah, perfectly. I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, okay, I don't know how the program is being structured. However, I thought maybe at least after each speaker, maybe you give a time for reflection or any addition to what the speaker have said, just to be much interactive so that well, now that people on the call really even just maybe like 5 minutes and also questions so that the speaker will be able to know maybe whether the people on the call also at least are following him through. And if people have one or two things to add to what he just said, maybe you could give that kind of opportunity.
Oh, perfect. Thank you
That's
very
just
much.
me.
I think that's
Um,
so much beautiful. Thank you very much for this
so,
suggestion.
so in that line, I'll just have just one thing to add to what Malam Jami just said as regards to his presentation. So thank you very much, Malam Jami, for your excellent presentation. I know much work must have been put into this to get this done. May Allah reward you abundantly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So yeah, so just in addition to what Malam Jadi just said, because okay, so you talk about the entrepreneur mindset and a lot of women say, okay, if I'm working in a company, I don't need to have such kind of mindset, and it's not so. You know, necessarily if you are having your own business or your own private establishment. No, even if you are working in a company, you still need that entrepreneurship mindset because that's the only thing that can stand you out really wherever you are. Because we are working in a company, so there you are not the only one, even in your role, especially when you're trying, especially when you started as a graduate trainee or you started as maybe from your junior cadre, you have your peers, and you know the growth in the corporate organization is a pyramid. So the next level, the next row, the number of people there is quite less compared to where you're coming from. So you need to be outstanding for you to be able to progress. And we have people, we usually call some people high flyer. Not that they are human beings as well, and they're someone like, but they put extra effort into and that kind of entrepreneurial mindset. And most organizations forget about what your background is, either mechanical, civil, or whatever you have, lawyer or anything. What they want is about sustainability of the company, value creation. That I think a lot of things are mentioned by Madam Jami. So how can you contribute to the organization? And those are it is for someone that have that kind of mindset. If you are engineer, okay, I'm designing. How your design contributes to the growth of this organization? You get what I'm saying? So not only can let me just design whatever once I've done my own design, I can go and sleep. No, how does your design what reflect and what is the end product and how does it contribute to the growth of that company? So that entrepreneurship mindset must be with you, not only when you okay, maybe I have my own company. No, so that kind of mindset is what you guys need to carry along, and it's really going to really help a lot to make you outstanding among your peers when you start your career. So that's one of just to add to what Madam Leb just said. Over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. We so much appreciate your
If
contribution, sir.
I
Yeah,
if I may,
absolutely, sir. You are
Engineer
welcome.
Mustafa Kadri, I really appreciate your contribution. And then I want the organizer to take note. Engineer Mustafa Kadri is a very senior oil and gas engineer. I think he works with Shell right now. He's a very senior engineer. He's been in the oil and gas industry for more than 15 years now. So
Wow.
his insight is quite valuable for us here. And it's
Oh,
one of the
perfect.
panelists for this event that have been nominated. So I really appreciate your contribution, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Okay.
very much, sir.
Thank you.
We so
Just a
much.
point of correction. I'm no longer with Shell. I'm with Nigeria LNG now.
Oh,
Okay, noted, sir.
perfect.
Noted, sir. Brings me up to date.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank you very much, sir. We so much appreciate and celebrate you, and we look forward to getting more from your experiences, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So, just to my hearings, I had down that Engineer Dr. Abdulkareem Aduagba Ganiyu is now around with us. So, he's going to be discussing with us navigating the job market. navigating the job market. And now you have briefed us what engineer is all about and a very short bio of him. So I look forward to having him on mic now. So Doctor is going to be speaking with us for 20 minutes, and I hope that we also gain a lot of experiences from him and a lot of learnings too. So you have the ground, sir. Yeah, we're waiting for Dr. Engineer
You're
Aduagba.
muted, sir. He's muted, actually.
Okay. Doctor, your mic is muted. Okay.
Dr. Abdulkareem, we can't hear you. Your mic is on mute. Okay. I
Oh,
think you
you're
can
welcome,
go
sir.
ahead now.
Hello, doctor. Are you having issue turning on the mic or something?
Yeah, it seems Doctor is having an issue with the microphone. Yeah, Doctor's microphone is still not speaking.
Kindly, admin just help him to turn on his mic.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, his mic is on, so we are not here. We could actually not take we could not hear anything from his end, but his mic is on. Doctor's mic is still not on. Yeah, doctor's mic is on, but we cannot hear anything. That's what that's the issue.
Assalamu'alaykum.
Walaikum
Please,
assalam.
while Dr. Aduagba is fixing his microphone, could we
Okay.
just move on to the next speaker and then let him talk after that speaker is done with his own presentation? Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Perfect. So we're just trying to see if perhaps it's going to get fixed soon, but we're going to be moving to that if we see that it's serious to be get soon. Okay. I think while Doctor is still trying to fix his microphone, I think we move to scholar Muhammed Adedigba, as I have mentioned him earlier, is going to discuss the postgraduate life. So now, inshallah, I think he's still with us now. So, Scholar Muhammad Adedigba, please, you have the ground. You have 20 minutes to go, sir. You can please have the ground to talk. So your mic is muted. Your mic is muted. Oh, not at all. You still muted. You're still muted. Can someone, okay? Tiatmi, could you please help us to unmute Scholar?
How about now? Am I audible?
Perfect. You are totally audible.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
Rashid Adedigba, if I got that correctly. So
That's it.
let me share my screen. I have a very small slide to share.
Okay, we appreciate after that.
Hmm. So Assalamu'alaykum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Muhammed Adedigba. I finished from the University of Ilorin in 2021. I was supposed to graduate in 2020, but COVID happened. For some reasons, all of us got 1 year added to our study duration. My background is in civil engineering. I specialized in structures for my final year. In 2018 and 2019, I held positions in Namets. I can't remember the exact designations of our position right now, but I got the job done. That's the most important thing. So
Alhamdulillah.
currently I am a master's student enrolled in the Erasmus Mundus Joint Master's Degree in Advanced Solid Mechanics. People know it as trains. Um, I have been to France for my first semester. I went to Greece for my second semester. Currently, I am in Italy for my third semester. So originally, I was contacted to speak about reference letters with regards to graduate school applications. But as we can all see, the agenda has changed. The truth is, if you give me 2 hours to discuss this, it will probably still not be enough. But I'm going to try my best to ensure everyone goes home with something from this session, from people that are not so informed about graduate school to people that probably even have more information than I do about graduate school. Believe me, they are among you. They are hidden among you. Very proactive people. So this is going to be the agenda for today. I have decided to categorize this session under 3 headings. So we examine some funding types that are there, and then we discuss the general process involved in any application and the core interest of today, which is for me to give you guys some tips and advice about graduate school, especially how to get into one. So as some sort of appetizer, some sort of assurance, I want to let you guys know that it is actually possible and people are doing it. It's possible for you to gain admission for your master's or your PhD with full funding. By full funding, I mean you don't have to worry about tuition, it's covered. You would get monthly stipend depending on the program you get admitted into. Your monthly stipend can be a lot. And also some programs would even sponsor your flight to your program and back to the country. Maybe you want to go back to the country for vacation, I don't know. Some sponsor it biannually, once per annum, maybe once throughout the whole duration of the program. It really depends on which program you are getting into. And there are 1,001 scholarships out there. 1,001, believe me. There are a lot that I have no clue about myself. I mean, I speak to some people sometimes about their graduate school life, and when I ask them about the scholarships that they are currently on, they mention names that I've never heard before. So the opportunities are out there. Some might just be hidden. But just to mention a few, when we talk about scholarships, you can think of Commonwealth, MasterCard, there's Chevening, there's PTDF. That's basically by the Nigerian government. Like I mentioned, I am under Erasmus. There's one scholarship in Korea called GKS, Global Korea Scholarship, I think. There's another one in Saudi, there's one in Kazakhstan, and you can even go for a direct PhD in countries like the United States. And for those who don't know, your bachelor's is the minimum requirement to gain admission into a PhD program. They thought that you need to have finished a master's before you can start a PhD program. For 95% of PhD programs, bachelor's degree is usually the minimum requirement. And of course, when you go to the United States, it will usually be under maybe assistantships where you probably work in a lab as a research assistant, or you work as a teaching assistant to collect your monthly stipend. So it's like a kind of work arrangement. You work to get paid, but usually the work contributes towards your studies. If you are in for a PhD, your research assistantship would be on tasks that are related to your own PhD topic. And of course, if you put in a very strong application, you can win fellowships as well, in addition to your assistantships. And those are basically free money for like students that have a very strong background and have put in a very strong application. So this is not my main goal for today. So just permit me to move on to the next slide. Let's quickly examine this as well. This is also not my main goal for today. I just want to, for people that are not so well informed about the whole procedure, just to tell them about the general application procedure common to all scholarships that you can ever apply for. So first of all, there are some important documents that are common to all scholarships. You need your international passport. And if you are someone that knows him or her is interested in graduate school, start processing your international passports now. I faced a lot of problem when I was trying to get mine, and that is the reason why it is advisable for you to start now. Don't go to your state to get your international passport unless you have like very strong connections, you have long leg, if you know what I mean, because there's a lot of bureaucracy and excessive red tape at Oyo State Immigration Office. Go to places where getting your passport would be easy. I know it is relatively easier in Kwara State, where our school is located. If you have the courage, you can go to the north. You can literally get your passport issued in one day. And of course, you would also need your bachelor's degree certificate. Usually you get that when you graduate, on the day of graduation. But if you know you want to start applying now, and I don't know how the current state of things in school, probably there are some 500 level students that are done with the exams. I have no idea. But the point is, if you've not yet graduated, you can, and you finished your exams, you can ask the Senate building to issue a statement of result for you. Okay. And also, even if you are still in your 500 level, even if you are still starting your 500 level, that doesn't delay your application. You can apply with your transcript of records. Like you can collate all of the results you have from 100 up to 400 and apply with those. It is allowed. A lot of programs even encourage people that are in their final year of studies to apply. So as soon as you finish your bachelor's, you go resume for your master's or your PhD, as the case may be. And of course, you would usually need a CV, an academic CV in this case. You can read about that later on, how you draft a good academic CV. A very important piece of document is your statement of purpose. Some people call it motivation letter. It can also be in form of motivation essays where you would have to draft some essays to answer some specific questions that are designed to kind of assess your motivation to study in a particular program. Of course, what I was originally contacted to speak about, the reference letter as well, it's a very important piece of document. And depending on the program you are planning to apply for, you can be required to write some language tests like TOEFL, usually for those that wish to go to the United States, and IELTS, usually for people that want to go to the UK. Some of these programs, they recognize people that went to school in an English-speaking country. So for some of them, this is enough, something called English Proficiency Certificate. That was what I collected from the school. The Senate Building can get this issued to you. The document would basically state that so and so person went through this program in this school with the primary medium of communication being the English language. And of course, if you want to go to the United States, sometimes you might need to write a GRE exam, especially people that it's advisable for people. Okay, number one, some schools make this compulsory. You need to write this exam before you can apply for admissions into schools. But it is also advisable, even if a school does not make it compulsory, it is advisable for people that are looking out to improve their portfolio. You know, if you know, for example, you are finishing with a 2-2 or a third class, writing these exams and getting high scores, it's usually like a lifeline. And of course, after you've gathered all these documents, you put in your application respecting the specific instructions by the scholarship awarding body, and the process usually ends with an interview. Almost all programs conduct interviews, but some programs do not. They make their selections, they make their selection decisions based on like the normal application that you've put in. So now to the main agenda for today, which are the tips and advice I have for you guys. There's no content on this page because I would like you to just pay attention. If it is just one point that you take home, if it is just one point that sticks with you, I think I have achieved my objective. So just pay attention. You don't need to write anything down. Number one, it doesn't really matter what you graduate with. Whether you finish with a first class or a 2-1 or a 2-2 or a third class, don't finish with a pass, please, I beg you. Don't finish with a pass. Regardless of what you finish with, there are opportunities for you. There are opportunities for you. Someone that graduates with a 2-2 or a third class would probably just need to prove themselves more. Because believe me, your grades aren't enough to win you a scholarship. Other things come into play. For example, your professional experience, your research experience, your volunteering, the personal projects that you've embarked on. your motivation as well, which is very key. All of these things, they work together, you know. But that is not to say you shouldn't try to finish well. Because think about it. If someone that finished with a first class and someone that finished with a 2-1 or a 2-2 put in the same quality of application, we all know the person that is probably most likely going to get awarded the scholarship. So have that at the back of your mind. Have that at the back of your mind. And like I said, if you finish with a 2-2 or a third class,
Yeah, Esa, your mic has been muted, sir. Your mic is still not on. Now, Jamiu, could you please help us with that?
am I audible now?
Yeah, well, yes, you are audible.
Okay, thank you very much. Where exactly did you guys lose my voice? What was I speaking about at that point?
Yeah, you were mostly talking about finishing with either first class, second class, third class, having to buckle that with something. So that was where we
Okay,
caught up.
okay. So I believe that means everybody heard the part that, oh, regardless of your grades, it is not enough to win you a scholarship. But at the same time, try to finish well. For people that have a couple of semesters left that are present on this call, try to finish well, try to boost your CGPA with the few semesters that you have left to go. Um, I know there are a lot of people out there today peddling this idea that finishing well, probably with a first class, is like a scam or something. All of that is nonsensical, let me put it that way. Because at the end of the day, you create a good impression in the minds of those evaluating your application if you finished well, if you finished with good grades. And that brings me to my next tip. Let me call this one advice, not a tip. The journey is not easy. You need to be motivated. Some people apply, they get admitted in their first trial. I was very lucky. I applied to just one program, just one time, and I got my admission. But I have friends that were not equally lucky. I would say that it was, for my case, it was a case of when preparedness meets opportunity, or how does that saying goes. So people get in their first trial, some people get rejected several times, but know that when you are consistent and you've structured your plan, you are continuously improving yourself, that yes will eventually come. So the road to gaining admission can be full of ups and downs sometimes. Don't let that discourage you. All right. Also, you need to start preparing now. You need to start preparing now. Let me tell you about my story. I heard about Erasmus Mundus joint master's degree from a colleague. A lot of you would know him. He goes by the name Suleiman Ahmed Taufik, popularly known as Einstein when we were in school. I heard about Erasmus from him in 2020, when I think late 2020, when we resumed after COVID. So he told me about Erasmus since then, and right from then I went on the EMGMD catalog. I, tried to identify programs that I am eligible for, tried reading through their requirements, and since then, because I forget things easily. If I write exams today, next month, if you ask me about that same exam I wrote just last month, I might have forgotten a lot of things. So you have to know what works for you. For me, I had to get like a small notebook where I write things down. If I remember something that would be useful in any of those programs, I write it down immediately. If I remember something that I feel is a great addition to my motivation letter that I would eventually need to write in the future, I write it down. If it is just 10 minutes or I don't know, 20 minutes per day or weekly that you're able to put in, it is not small. The consistency is key. Before I knew it, a note finished, I started another note. But I spaced it out over a long duration. So it wasn't like stressful for me. Are you guys getting me? So you need to start now. And also the reason why you need to start now, I mentioned earlier that you should start processing your international passport. The delay in the issue of my passport almost made me miss the application window for the program I am currently in. It made me miss the application for one program. That program is called EMship. I missed the application window because my international passport wasn't available. So when my international passport became available, I had probably just 4 days left to like put in my application. But because I had already started preparing a long time ago, to draft my academic CV wasn't like an hassle. My motivation letter, I finished it in 1 day because I already had all of the things I need to just put together. And my friends were the ones that reviewed my motivation letter. I wasn't looking for maybe someone that had already won a scholarship to review my letter. It was a friend that reviewed it. So I think I wrote just 2 drafts, and that was what I eventually submitted. Also, if you start preparing now, drafting your reference letter is not going to be difficult for you as well, because sometimes you would need to help your referees in that process. Also, try to form mutual interest groups. What do I mean by mutual interest groups? If you know that you have colleagues that are also interested in graduate schooling, try to form like a group where you guys push your goals together. It's very easy to procrastinate. All of us are procrastinators in one way or the other, but we just try to push ourselves, to get things done. And a very easy way to get things done is to have friends that are actually doing the same thing as well. They serve as accountability partners for you. If you see your friends doing something, believe me, before you know it, you would also be pushed to do it, or they would push you to do it. I mean, a lot of my friends then, they would just call me that, Muhammad, have you put in any application? I will keep telling them that no, no. I was also lazy, but like I said, I was still preparing. So when I eventually put in that one application, it was a strong one, and Alhamdulillah, Almighty Allah made it possible. So form mutual interest groups if you can. Also, besides your degree certificate and probably your transcript of records, the most important pieces of documents are your motivation letter and your reference letter. Those are very important, especially your motivation letter. Your motivation letter gives you this opportunity to sell yourself to the board that is going to evaluate your application. You tell them why you should be considered for this program and why you think you're the best candidate. And you are the one marketing yourself through your motivation letter. Your reference letter is a way for a third party to also kind of say good things about you. All right. And dead the thought that you necessarily need to get a professor to craft or draft, sorry, your reference letter for you. It's better if you have a lecturer, one, that is ready to say a lot of good things about you, make noise about you, to draft your reference letter, rather than a professor that is going to draft a generic reference letter for you. But of course, if you have access to a lecturer, one, and the professor that is willing to draft the same quality of reference letter for you, by all means, go for the professor. I believe you guys get the message I'm trying to pass across. And also, your referee does not have to be only from the academic. You can have a referee in the professional world as well. That was what I did for my program. A very, God bless him, a very good lecturer from the University of Ilorin drafted my reference letter for me. And I also contacted one of my supervisors from Chevron to draft my second reference letter. So those were the two reference letters that I used, and that worked for me. Bear in mind that you have to take note of program-specific instructions. Some programs would say that they need only academic referees, so you need to respect that. While some programs, they allow like a mix of the two, the same way I did. And the next advice is for you not to lie in your applications. I mean, I get the urge to want to make your application look strong, which sometimes make people say things that they didn't really do. If you are caught, it's not really going to look well on you. So there's always a way to package your little achievements, in a very sound and interesting way. That's what you should do. In Islam, we are not even permitted to lie, so don't do it in the first place. A lot of people do that these days. It's a bad practice. Also, like I mentioned briefly before, don't get discouraged by every rejection that you may receive in the future. See every rejection as an opportunity for you to look inwards and identify the core areas of your application that needs improvement and come back stronger. Just come back stronger, just keep pushing. That yes is eventually gonna come. And like I said at the beginning, there are some scholarships that I have no clue about. I've never heard about them. There are 1001 scholarships out there. So be on the hunt for information. Google is your friend. Join I don't know, WhatsApp groups that share scholarship related information. I don't know, there are probably some scholarships that pay a lot and people don't even know about them. People don't apply for them at all. Imagine that you are the only person that applies for that kind of scholarship. I mean, no matter how bad your application looks, you are the only one that applied. So they must definitely award you, in as much as you are above their quality bar. So that's why good access to information is very good. And
Perfect.
of course, in your
Yeah.
application,
Scholar, sir?
yes.
Sorry. Yeah, we almost running out of time actually. So and
Okay,
can you please
no
make us
problem.
supposed to make that faster?
No problem. I mean, I'm already on my last tip already.
All right. Thank you
So
very much.
you would remember that I said that the last stage of any application process is usually the interview. So when you get to that stage, always try to practice with your friends, do mock interviews. I mean, that really helped me a lot. For the interview for my program, I was working then, so I was very busy. I got the interview invite maybe before Maghrib, a day before the day of the interview. So I just got on a call with friends and they conducted a mock interview for me. Believe me, I performed. All of these friends at that point, they had already won like a lot of scholarships. So they had a lot of experience doing interviews. They were the ones that conducted the mock interview for me. And believe me, I performed woefully. But that gave me the opportunity to hear their feedback and prepare better, even though I had a limited period of time left. So I cannot overemphasize the importance of interview prep. It is really important. So thank you all for listening. And I pray Almighty Allah makes it possible for those of you that wish to embark on this journey. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for to you, Scholar Muhammad Adedigba. We are very much grateful for this very beautiful this very beautiful contribution you've made for us, and then this very beautiful ideas that you've presented to us. So with this regard, we say a very big jazakumullahu khairan to you. So for what
Wahiyakum.
Doctor mentioned to us earlier, so let's have a very short time between this time before the next speaker. So is there any question or any suggestion from the, Dr. Mustafa and the likes of all the people too? If there's any question, you can always unmute yourself and put the question forward. Yeah, any question? Oh, it seems there's no question for what I'm saying here.
Assalamu'alaykum warahmatullah.
Oh, walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, please. I want to ask about what opportunity for the for applying for a postgraduate for an HND holder. What opportunity
Okay.
can you get, or something like that? Which way can you go through? Which parts can you make through to get to be able to get a scholarship to? That's my
Oh, okay.
question. Thank you very
All right.
much.
You're welcome. Okay. Scholar Muhammad, that's a question to you.
Assalamu'alaykum. Thank you very much for that question.
You're welcome.
So if you owed HND, there is something called West evaluation or something like that. I can't remember the exact name. So basically what they do is that they convert whatever degree you have to an equivalent degree in the United States, for example, or any country of your choice. And that makes it easier for you to like apply with your West evaluated results. And besides that, if you go on like program specific website, they state the minimum requirement. And believe me, even most Erasmus programs, they allow HND holders to apply. For you to just see some sort of proof about what I am saying, you can go to the Erasmus Mundus Association page on Facebook or on LinkedIn and read through their posts, because they usually share like success stories of people that applied for scholarships and they won it. And we usually see a lot of HND holders. So what you first need to do is identify a scholarship you would like to apply for, check the minimum requirement. HND might be listed already, even if HND is not explicitly stated. Some of them will say, oh, you need to have a minimum of a bachelor's degree or something with this equivalent credit that your HND can qualify for. And if you feel your HND doesn't qualify for that, just try to do a West evaluation and you would be good to go. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, you're most welcome. Thank you very much for that. Brother Abdurrahman Ridwan raises his hand. Could you please put your question forward? A suggestion, anything?
Assalamu'alaikum warahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you so much, Scholar Muhammad and the organizers. I have 3 questions for you, sir. So let me just go.
Okay, sorry, could you please make them very summarizing?
Yeah. The first one is that I understand from your presentation that to secure a scholarship, it doesn't really mainly on the certificate or your class of degree. You can be a first class student, second class student, upper or lower. Then you made mention of some factors again, like leadership. So now I'm imagining maybe that we are just leaving school, and then I believe that all these leadership roles must have been people have taken up these roles while in school. But some of us while in school, we didn't take this up. Is there an avenue for us to take this up after this school? Especially this time, we are done with exam in school already, and then we are waiting for the graduating list. That's the number fourth question. Now the second question I I want to ask about this NYSC. So I understand that some people they get scholarship.
Yeah, sorry. Could you please the question since actually let's because of the time consciousness, can we just make it a little bit faster? Maybe like your first question is going to be attended to, and other people's question. Then we are going to pack other ones and put forward to them maybe towards the end of the program.
Okay, thank you.
Like, can you just complete what you were saying about NYSC so I can answer the two together?
Okay.
Okay, I want to ask that this NYSC, is it the most you do it before your maybe getting admission, or is there a way you can just go for admission and then come back for NYSC? Or if you are doing NYSC, can you just quit and go for admission if you see admission, you secure admission?
Okay. So thank you very much for that question. To answer your first question regarding those that might have missed out on like taking up leadership roles while in school, it's not a problem. You know, like I said, there are several aspects to your application. If you are missing out on having leadership experience, you can join a lot of volunteering organizations. There are a lot of non-profit NGOs out there that are looking for people to help them in one role or another. So you can join them, take up roles. I mean, there are a lot of leadership roles existing in these organizations as well, but it's not like a must. Just take up a volunteering role and do your job and like state that in your application that you did so and so for this so and so organization. So like if you know you're missing out on a particular aspect, there are other aspects that you can improve upon. Also consider taking MOOCs, massive open online courses, to boost your application as well. You can go on Coursera, you can go on which other one exists, a lot of them out there, and you don't have to pay for them. You can always request for a waiver of the course fee. There's a way we do that on Coursera during our time. And to answer your question on NYSC, you don't need to go for NYSC before you go for your graduate school. There are several options available to you. If you are the type that got graduate admission before your graduation, you can go for your graduate school immediately. When you come back to the country, you can always go on your NYSC. Also, you can plan well and apply such that your resumption date would be immediately after or almost at the end of your NYSC program. So that as soon as you're finishing NYSC, you're leaving. In my own case, that was what happened. I had just a month left for my NYSC when we resumed. So the only thing I don't have now is my certificate. I've already completed the minimum number of months required in NYSC to get my certificate. So when I am back in the country for any reason at all I need to do is go to Abuja to collect my certificate in person. So it really depends on what you want and your planning. I hope that has answered your question.
Perfect. Exactly. Okay. Thank you very much for that. So I think Sister Aisha is actually raising her hand too. Could you please put your question forward? Last question.
Wabarakatuh. Good morning. Thank you
Yeah,
very
morning.
much for the whole enlightenment, because before now I've actually not really been a fan of probably a master's or postgraduate after school. Well, recently the question of why not, I mean, because I know I think I'm capable enough to and all of that. But I think one of the reasons why I haven't been interested in it before now, because number one, there are a lot of there are a lot of like different opportunities out there, different schools, and you're unsure of which one would really match your taste and in terms of the opportunities and all of that. So my question now is, when would you advise to start application? Because the process is actually a long one. When exactly would you advise, especially for probably someone who's like in final year, so the first semester, second semester, and knowing how to navigate your way around the numerous opportunities out there? And probably, do you advise sticking to a particular school, a particular maybe a region, irrespective of whether you qualified or not, and irrespective of whether you are chosen or not? Should you stick to that particular scholarship? Do you understand what I'm saying? Or you can explore around different things. And again, is it okay to commence work? Like, is it cool for you to probably after school, like just try and like live your life, like continue in terms of whether or not you're going to be accepted or not while your application? Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think Aisha combined like 5 questions into one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I think you've
So
almost all
so
summarized.
okay, like okay, I
I
think I can remember about 3 questions. You asked about when do I advise you to start application. You asked about whether or not you can like start working and living your life normally after graduation. You asked about I
Can someone
think
stick to the school and
how
scholarship?
to navigate your way or something like that. And you also
Actually,
asked
sure.
about whether or not to stick to.
To one scholarship.
Yeah, okay, so let me try to address each of that in turn. So regarding when you should start, like I said, you should start as soon as possible. If you are in your final year, you can start the process. If you know that you would like to go for your NYSC before your program start date, you just need to check like when the resumption of your intended program usually like falls into like what time of the year, and plan accordingly. And but be careful as well. You know, all of these programs, they have application deadlines that you must strictly adhere to. So a lot of factors come into play. You can start applying now. Your NYSC shouldn't really deter you from applying. You can always come back for your NYSC. Get what I'm trying to say? So start applying now as soon as possible. Even if you don't want to start applying now, at least start getting your documents, your international passport. In Erasmus, for example, there's something we call certificate of residence. So all of the documents that you know you would need, start getting them. If you know you would like to write language tests or GRE, you can start preparing for those and write your test and have your scores ready. So those are the various ways you can start
Okay, thank
preparing
you.
towards your application. So regarding how to
I will
navigate,
come and pay them later. I will come and pay them later.
regarding how
Yep.
to
Keep it
navigate
going.
your way, there is a website called foricu.org where you can literally get information about any school in the United States, most especially. You can search for, maybe, I don't know, your background is in chemical engineering, for example. You can search for master's degree in so and so school, and you'd get all of the information you need. You can check the EMGMD catalog, the Erasmus catalog. Just check on Google, Erasmus Mundus Joint Master's Degree Catalog, and filter by your field of study. You get the list of all currently running master's program. Each program have their specific website. You can start checking the ones you are eligible for. Be careful, for Erasmus programs, you won't see masters in civil engineering, for example. The names are like specialized, and these are like highly integrated programs that accept applications from various disciplines. For example, for my program, we have civil engineers, mechanical engineers, biomedical engineers. We also have aeronautics engineers. So you just have to check the requirements of each specific program to know if you are eligible for it. And regarding whether or not you should stick to like a region that keeps rejecting you, I mean, it's always good to spread your tentacles. Don't be limited to just one region. Apply to as many schools in different countries as possible, but don't let the number of applications you are putting in affect the quality of your application. The quality of your application is far more important than the number of applications that you put in. But the more applications you are able to put in, the better for you if you are able to maintain the same quality or true. Because I mean, mathematically speaking, that increases the probability of you getting a scholarship award. And regarding working after graduation, by all means, start working if you get an opportunity after graduation. That doesn't, you wanting to go for graduate school doesn't really affect your normal day-to-day life. I was working before I came for my program. I started working immediately after we graduated, and it was my program that even made me submit my resignation letter at my place of work, because I needed to take some time to recover before resumption for my program. So I think in a way, all of what I said answered most of your questions. And for
Yeah.
anybody that have like subsequent questions, you can reach out to the coordinators. They can gather all of your questions for me in a doc and send it over to me. Then I can respond and send it over to them.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Scholar Muhammad. We are so much grateful. So that not to be waste time at all. Like Dr. Engineer Aduagba Ganiyu Kareem is now around, so we want to have some time with him in the next 20 minutes, inshallah. You have the ground, sir.
Assalamu'alaykum. Can you hear me clearly now?
Walaikum assalam. Yes, we can absolutely do that. Yes, sir.
Alhamdulillah. First of all, I would like to appreciate the organizer of this program. My name is Engineer Aduagba Ganiyu Kareem. Presently, I'm the project manager of Aeronautics and Air Vehicle Development Institute, an institute under National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, Abuja. But ABD, the aeronautics is actually in Kaduna. I graduated from University of Ilorin in the year 2004, and I hold my master's and Doctor of Philosophy in Engineering, Mechanical, from Federal University of Technology, MENA, from 2015 and 2021. I've worked in several places. I worked at Kwara State Ministry of Works, Kwara State Vehicle Inspection Office, and the International Aviation College in Ilorin before I eventually got to Nasir. First of all, I want to start by thanking Allah, who has made us a conscious Muslim, and by that alone, He has perfected our journey through life already. And what remains just a little job. Engineering is a diverse and dynamic field that offers numerous opportunities for growth and success. As Muslim engineering students, you have unique strengths and considerations that can contribute to your professional journey. Let's explore some of the key points that I have tried to prepare, because I've been on transit. You bear with me. The number one point which I want to talk on is diversity. In the engineering world, diversity is valued. Your unique perspective and background as a Muslim can bring fresh ideas and solutions to the table. You need to embrace your cultural identity as strength towards whatever thing you want to navigate in the job market. The other point, which I also want to say, is networking. Yes, networking is essential in any career. Attend industry events, join engineering organizations, and connect with professionals who are mentors and guide you on your path. That is very important. Then technical proficiency. You need to build a strong foundation in your chosen engineering field. Yes, you need to continuously learning. I need to stay up to date with the latest technology. That will position you for any opportunity around you or opportunity far away from you. You need to get prepared. And the other point is soft skills. You need to develop communication, teamwork, and leadership skills. And these are the skills that are just crucial as technical knowledge in the job market. Soft skills. They are the most needed in today's job market. You need it. Then you need to practice what I call inclusiveness and respect. You need to promote inclusivity and respect in the job market. Whether you are searching for a job or you are even already in the job, because as far as I'm concerned, immediately you finish, even some that are still some students are already in the job market, because the money some students are earning is much more than what those that are already in the job market are even earning. You also understand that. So when you are there or you are about to be there, you need to encourage diversity and you need to create a positive environment where everyone feels valued. Don't disrespect anyone. Then internships and cooperatives. You need to gain practical experience from internships. What we are used to is medical doctors are doing internships. That may not be correct only for them. We all need internships. You need to engage yourself in this. Try to navigate your way to know the area you are comfortable with. Where do you think you want to survive, or where do you think you'll be most valued? You need to go around them, get yourself internships and cooperative programs. Because the real world exposure is invaluable when entering the job market. So we need it. Then professional development. You need to invest in your professional development. Consider pursuing certifications. You may equally consider advanced degrees or specialized training to enhance your skills. Yes, there are some specialized training which some people hold without any degrees. Recently in my office, we have this guy. He has a CPA, that is a commercial pilot license, and he has gone for several trainings on drone, on technical drone manufacturing, and even how to fly drone. He's working with Nigerian Air Force. This I don't have to say this, but this guy is a good guy. This guy does not have a degree, and my office employed him purposely because of our projects. He was with us for about 6 months, and he has done a lot. But this guy was not holding any degree. So when they wanted to place him, they find it difficult to place him because with the school start he had, he was nowhere to be fixed. If they have to fix him, he will be given something like grade level 6 or so, which cannot be commensurate with his skills. This guy to approach me for advice. I went to a place in Zaria, Engr, to know how they place their pilots. But even though those ones too are not having full-time pilots, so we find it difficult to place this guy, and we cannot go beyond what the civil service has stipulated. So this guy, because of politics, trying to say we do something, this guy had to leave us because he had a soft skill, he had the skills, he has the technical skills, and he has developed himself beyond even the PhD holders among us. So the guy had to leave because he knows he has something to generate more funds. So specialized training to enhance your skills. Once you have that one, you may discover that some of these degrees are not necessary. Then healthy life balance. You also need to maintain a healthy life balance. You need to prioritize your care, whether you are already in the job market, you are already working or not. You need to get yourself prepared. You need to have time with your family and the community to ensure long-term relationships. If you say you are working, you are trying to get certificate, you are going to get a particular certification before you can gainfully employed, before you can now be having time for your community or for your family, that may be too late. You need to start now. As you are not fully engaged, you need to maintain a healthy life balance. You prioritize your care and time with family and community to ensure long-term relationships. Then mentorship. You need to seek out mentors who can provide guidance and advice based on their own experiences. I think myself, I used to have a mentor in one engineer, one of our very senior colleagues in my office before. But at some point, it was not in the direction my interest was. So I changed my mentor to another person. And that person was not comfortable because he wanted me to actually be in the same lane with him, which I was not comfortable with. So you can change mentor, but sometimes if you want to change mentor, you change it strategically. A mentor can help you navigate challenges and make informed career choices. Like I said, mentor can influence you, and don't let it influence decisions that you are not comfortable with. It is not right. It may affect your psyche in future. So seek out mentors who can provide guidance and advice based on their experience. And if at some point you are not comfortable, you can change mentor. Use your engineering skills also to give back to the society or the community that made you. Give back to community, and you need to engage in philanthropic projects or initiatives that benefit society, aligning with Islamic principles of charity and community service. And in all, never you accept defeat at any time. If you are engaged with, if for instance, as you are starting, you are engaged with a secondary school teaching job, make sure the teaching does not affect your dream. That is, you allow the teaching, don't allow the teaching to drive you somewhere you are not comfortable with. You can be in teaching job while planning for the bigger environment which you would like to find yourself. We have a lot of our colleagues in those days when we left university that are teaching. They were teaching, we were discussing why is he in secondary school teaching, not knowing that the guy was actually planning for himself on how to take his exit and go to the environment where he prepared for himself, where he was planning for himself. So, and this guy today, I think many of them are professors or associate professors, and they are doing well. So, in my conclusion, Let me say that as Muslim engineering students, you have a bright future ahead. Embrace your identity, network, develop technical and soft skills, and always remember the importance of inclusivity and respect in your career. I believe with dedication and perseverance, you can make meaningful contributions to both the engineering field and your community. Your success is not only to effectively navigate the job market, but also an opportunity to inspire and uplift others in your community. I want to thank you, and I want to appreciate you for finding me worthy to invite me for this. Thank you very much. I actually didn't prepare this thing, but if you need the presentation in PowerPoint, I will try and make it and send it across to the person that has been sending message to me. Thank you very much.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We are so much grateful and we celebrate your time with us, and we absolutely appreciate every of your contribution from your hand, sir. Jazakumullah khairan, sir. We ask Allah to reward you abundantly and then put more success to your activities and every of our guest speakers too. Inshallah, before the next section, the time we're going to leave between this one is going to be for the interactive section and the questioning section too. But in respect to that, yeah, we're going to take just 5 minutes for that. And after that, there are questions available for our first guest speaker concerning the entrepreneurship, inshallah. So anybody with a question can please put on your mic. Question, contribution. Okay, since it seems there's no question for now, for our first guest speaker,
There is.
okay, question. All right. So please, could you unmute yourself and put your question forward, please? Hello. Okay. Yeah, the person holding the mic. Now the person raising their hand, please.
Yeah, hello, Assalamu'alaykum.
Yeah, walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Please, what's your question?
Yeah, my name is Abdulkareem. I
Alright.
congratulate Namets for all the efforts to have put this together. I also thank the speaker, and quickly to my contribution, I actually just wanted to make a contribution.
Sorry, could we
Yeah,
please know
two
a
things.
little about each
Two
one?
things. He mentioned one, on never accept defeat. And this is because it's going to have the eye toll effect on your mentality, on your psychology. Secondly, don't walk alone. Be a Liverpool fan. Don't walk alone. There is the other brother close to you. There is that sister next to you. Please walk in pairs. Because once you leave school, you're going to scatter all over the place. And you see, if you don't have someone to share experiences with, look, the first truth you must know is not everybody is going to make the success at every attempt. No. Some will come immediately, some will not come until 5 years later, 2 years later. Allah has designed everybody's path. But what you should know is whatever time it comes, you may need solace in the people around you, beyond the family. But the biggest depressing factor is when you see a colleague, oh, he's already here and I'm still here. No, don't let it bother you. So try, beyond having mentors, also have a colleague to hold in hand and watch your mentality. And also be very conscious of your Islamic guide on why everything that happens is predestined. And ultimately, success is yours. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much. We are so much grateful for your contribution. We ask Allah to reward you abundantly and put more success to your activities too. Any other question and suggestion or contribution? No?
Oh, it seems there's nothing from anybody's end as of now. So to our guest, our first guest speaker, Dr.
I think
Tomori.
there's a contribution.
Okay, yeah. Can we have that, please?
Assalamu'alaykum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Now, walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Could you please let's have your name, please?
So my name is Engineer Nasir Olabisi.
Yeah, we
I'm
appreciate
one
you,
of
sir.
yeah. I want to congratulate you for putting this together, and I also want to thank all the speakers for their contributions so far. I just want to tell you guys that you are doing a wonderful job by putting this together, and I would also like you to please hand over appropriately to the next, to those that are coming behind the 400 level students that will be coming to take this responsibility. Please do hand over properly to them, because I want to believe that Muslim engineering students in University of London should be more than 20. I look at the attendance, I think it's not very encouraging, but you are doing a good job for putting this together. So when you hand over, please encourage those coming after you to carry the students in 400 level down to 100 level along, so that you can always have a good number. It's good to have a good number in Namets, so that a lot of Muslim students out there who are not aware of what you guys are doing, so they are aware of what you are doing. So going back to what the last speaker just talked about, talking about Engineer Abdulkareem, Abdulsalam, definitely differ. So don't get carried away by what the achievement of your colleague just immediately after school. Allah has planned ways in different manner. And I also want to advise that immediately you leave school for NYSC, begin to prepare yourself. Prepare yourself in, with the hope of getting placement with your NYSC, and prepare yourself in drafting out your CV. Your CV is one of the things that you need to get jobs out there. And don't leave prayer alone as well. Be a Muslim that pray all the time. Do your tahajjud, do your nawafil, because this is not to scare you. The job market is kind of funny. So, and it has nothing to do with your grades. Like one of the speaker that talked about your postgraduate studies talked about, whether you have first class, second class, upper, or third class, this is not what will determine where you will be in the job market. Things that will determine what you will be. Number one, like I said earlier, is your destiny. What Allah has designed for you will differ. Number two, the skills that you have. So I want to encourage you all, apart from your certificate or what you have been taught, go and learn extra skills. Don't be an engineer that will not know AutoCAD. AutoCAD is the list of all the software you should know. Go and learn AutoCAD and learn all the software that you need to know. If you're a mechanical engineer, go and learn A3D. You are software engineer, learn Start and Start Pro. And you are a chemical engineer, go and learn Pipe Pro, Pipe Steam, ICs, and all that. So make sure you learn this thing in your NYC days. Don't let that 1 year waste. Don't waste that 1 year, please. Don't waste it. And it's irrespective of where you are posted to, whether you are far posted to the far northeast or down south, wherever you are, that's much as possible to learn and make the best use of that 1 year. And use whatever you learn during your 3 months and 6 months IT as your experience in your CV, because you'll be wondering, where do I start from? I'm just a fresh graduate. What experience do I put on my CV? Put your IT experience on your CV, and also put your NYC experience on your CV. And one other thing I want to talk about is that as soon as you leave school, begin to plan how you register to the Nigerian Society of Engineers, and how you get your foreign too. These are very key, important area where that will be needed for you during your job search. And if you have the opportunity to effect your posting to places where your dream is, maybe you are targeting to probably work in telecoms, and you know that telecom something, there are a lot of them in Lagos. If you have the opportunity, maybe you have the connection to do that, please don't relax. Just make the best use of that opportunity. But if you don't stress yourself. Make sure you learn during the NYC here. You can always go back to those cities where you feel you want to, you have, interest in. Which other thing I want to talk about? I think that is that for now. So if you have any other questions, please do let me know. I will still be here to give answers to any question you need.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. We are so much grateful for your contribution, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And to Engineer Tomori, is a question to you. Though we have a lot of questions for you, sir, but just because of the time consciousness, we're going to read just 2 questions or more. So for our panelists to have the grounds on, inshallah. So the first question here says that could you please help us share insight to funding options and resources available for engineering startups and innovative projects, especially for students or recent graduates?
Oh, well, thank you for the question. And I must, before I go to the question, I cannot overemphasize what Engineer Nasir mentioned last about learning software and even learning how to code. I think I forgot that. A lot of lecturers, speakers today, I forgot that. That is very important, please. I want to quickly put a shed down on it, if to use the word in Arabic. It's critical for us as engineers in this age, and knowing the quality of education we got. It's not at par with people who want to compete around the world. So we need to meet up a lot of the deficiencies on our own. Please, your curriculum is not inferior to what is learned everywhere in the world, but what you are lacking mostly is hands-on training and exposure to tools. So you can close the gap with YouTube and other resources that are freely available online. So make the most of the resources available in your time. In nowadays, we get the library. Once you look at the library, you cannot even read books. Now you don't even need the library anymore. So please take advantage of that. The secondly is the question, going back to the question straight away. With respect to funding, I'm sorry, I intended to add a lot of issues on funding to the presentation I did, but I couldn't because of the concern. I was constrained on time. But the key thing is there are several funding options for people who want to start up, especially venture capitalists and some other startup options. I will try and add it to the presentation when I will forward it to the organizers, so I see there. But there are options usually for it to pitch before some angel investors, venture capitalists, and some other things. Some of these opportunities are in Nigeria right now. If you go through some forums online, you can see them. Then there's also options. I don't encourage startups to go to banks. Banks don't even support business. That's the rule. They support established business because they are also they can't wait for you to mature, and you are in a very risky situation. You don't go through to source money from very risky sources like banks. So the best is to use people who want to grow with you. So I will try and go into details a bit on it when I put the rest of the presentation together. I think that answers the question, I believe.
Absolutely, sir. Yeah, perfect, sir. So please, one last question for the session. We're going to put other questions up to you, sir. So the question says, how can graduate engineering students balance the demands of academia with their entrepreneurial pursuits or innovative projects? Could you please help us with the management tips or strategies if you have, sir?
Well, thank you for that. I would say I wish someone was here that can do better on that, but I will borrow some ideas from people who have done that perfectly well and say this following. First of all, if you are in school and you are an entrepreneur, you are already above board.
for you to have the ingenuity to run a business while as a student, either because of you are a more mature student or you are just very smart. So I think you are in a you stand a very good chance. The only your problem is time and your constraint of time, and then priority. I wouldn't advise that you kill the business for the academics or kill the academics for the business. That's it's like killing short term for long term and vice versa, things like that. So the smartest thing to do is good time planning. If you have not started any business and you feel that, well, I'm in part 3 or part 4, I want to start a business now, my advice is be very careful. If you have not been doing it before, engineering education is challenging in itself alone. But getting the time to do a reasonable work of starting a business is not easy. The best thing you should do right now is read up about entrepreneurship and things you need to do, how to do this and that, how to get first of money. Become very established in the fact that you get to work mainly during NYSC. You see that NYSC, that 1 year in NYSC, it's one of the most wasted time in our time. You are the prime of your youth and your head is so open, you just finished school. And then some people not committed to a waste of 1 year. My advice is don't waste it as the program you do. Make the most of it. Start a business in NYSC. If you are fortunate, unfortunately, because of the security situation in the country now, a lot of us are not posted to very far away from home. It's fun to leave home and go and serve in distant land and learn new cultures and learn new opportunities that are there. But wherever you are posted, don't just want to school in Lorin, serve in Lorin, live in Lorin, and die in Lorin place or elsewhere. Maybe some people just like to be in Lagos perpetually. Please take the opportunity to open up your view and get a new world view. So wherever you are, understand Nigeria better and the complexity and the opportunities that abound, and then you can start something during NYSC. I assure you have ample time on your hand during NYSC. You have nothing to do with it except to learn and maybe start a business. So use it there. If you're already on it, if you already have a venture in hand while in school, find a way to balance up, but don't sacrifice the academics because you just have to make money. Even if you have to lose some money, a little bit of money, don't lose the venture, but lose some money and make sure you balance with the academics. You will need it. Assalamu'alaykum.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So jazakumullah khairan, sir. Thank you very much. We are so much grateful for your contributions, sir. And also, we are going to put other questions up to you as soon as we're done with the program, inshallah. So now, we are going to be going to the panelist session. So perhaps there's anything, maybe like a question before we move to the panelist section. Is there anything? If there's something, so we can always try to mute ourselves and put that off forward.
Okay, Assalamu'alaykum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
Okay, just a little contribution. I won't take too much time. I think the speakers have dealt with the topic enough, and there is nothing else. There is a lot of takeaways anyway. And like one of the speakers said, I expected a large turnout. I don't know if there is a place where this session is being actually where we have a lot of. But what I can see, the attendance very poor. I expected a large turnout. So I don't know how the coordinators to take back these learnings to some of the members of Namets that are not here. Some of the documents that have been shared, I think if they are not, the session is being recorded, they can actually let them have it or share some of the slides with them. There's a lot of takeaways, and I'm quite sure it's going to be handy for some of them. So just to buttress some of the things that the last speaker's engineer Tomori, you see, that period of NYC is very crucial. There are some of the people that will look at your CV looks for gaps. During your school, after your school, what were you doing? Some people will there will be gaps. There was a CV I was reviewing recently. I conducted an interview last week, and there was a CV I was reviewing recently, and I saw some gaps. So the employers will look at gaps. If you have gaps on CV where you are not doing anything, it's cause for questioning. So during the NYC, there are a lot of opportunities. Some people will be posted to places where they will be underused, maybe posted to maybe secondary school, or maybe posted to a place where their engineering skills will not be put to practice. So what you should do is to make use of this. There are so many courses you can learn on your own. If you don't have the funds to go for training, because basically what you learn in school is just the basics that you need to know about some principles of engineering. And so the hands-on training you might not actually get because you don't have the experience yet, but you can learn some. You don't have the funds, there are some courses you can learn online that will help you to actually build your skills. Some of them are not, they are free. You get, some of us are electrical engineers, there are some tools you can learn. Apart from being electrical engineer, there are some tools you can learn that will enhance your skills. Some of us are averse to programming, but it's something that is really key to engineering right now. There are a lot of people that are engineers, maybe network engineers, but they are trying to see what can be automated in their process. Automation is key. There are so many tasks that are being repetitive, and take a lot of. It's something you do regularly, and by the time you automate it, it builds that confidence in the fact that employers are looking for a way to make things get better and faster. So automation, how do we do automation? It's by building some, enhancing your skills in programming and some development programs. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that try and get some added skills added to what you already know that are different from what you've actually learned. So it will actually enhance your CE, and by the time people are looking at other things that you can do aside from the fact that you have a degree in engineering, it will speak a lot for you. So I just want us to make it the best time after school. I guess most of the people here are in their final year, but for some of us that are still in school, yes, you can still learn some of these things during school. At your free time, you can actually there are some resources you can actually access online and actually help you to improve some of the skills I mentioned earlier. So the opportunities are vast out there. So let us make use of the best of it. Thank you very much.
No, Jazakumullah khair, and thank you very much, sir. Engineer Nasir, we are so much grateful for your contribution, sir. And so from the panelists, from the panelist end, we have we have Engineer Engineer Qadir to give us from his end to Engineer Qadir Mustafa. So we want to hear from you, sir. Could you please give us something, sir? Now, Engineer Qadir Mustafa. Okay, it seems engineer is not on the list, no? So, okay. Engineer Mubarak Ahmed, so give us something from his hand. We're looking forward to hearing from you, sir.
Yeah, hello, Assalamu'alaykum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, sir. Thank you for being around. Yes,
yeah, thanks for having me. My name is Mubarak Ahmed. I studied electrical engineering, in University of Ilorin, right, in 2004. I want to start by congratulating you guys for organizing this event because this is, apologies, my voice might be harsh. I'm a little bit under the weather, but I'll try as much as possible to be audible so that you can hear me. This is a very good step in, in the right direction, right? Because I remember when we were in school, we had a similar program when I think we were in 200 level where some brothers came, some, graduates from the faculty came to the university to speak with the Namets, students at that time. That event stood with me. Everything they said, really, really stood with me. So congratulations for that. So like I said, Mubarak Ahmed, I studied electrical engineering. I graduated 2004. I was in the same class with Abdulkareem, Abdulsalam, Olumide Adedigba, Jamiu, Tomori. We were all in the same class, right? Our brothers have spoken eloquently well, right? So at some point, I was even wondering if there's anything I'll add. But in the interest of time and just to give back in my own little way, I'll try as much as possible to summarize, my journey from University of Ilorin till now. I'll make it as short as possible. And I understand the fact that, people have their own paths to tread. The Almighty Allah's blessings abound in different ways. I understand all that. I am just, willing to share my story and see if there's one or two things, anybody can, take from it. So, like I said, I studied electrical engineering. I have been in tech since, I've been in the tech field. I started my tech journey in 300 level. Someone introduced it to me, but I didn't fully delve into it at that time. I just got some materials, which I was studying and all that. I would say I really, really started tech in our 400 level. I want to believe the process is still the same, whereby 400 level first semester is always SOS, right? And it's a long, 6 month, program where you're going to have to work, and learn some industry, training. So I had the option of, doing, going for organizations like NEPA, NITEL. Again, don't forget that during our time, we don't have the kind of opportunities, you guys have now, which I'll still come back to. So I had the option of going for, all those organizations, but I decided to do my IT in a tech firm where they do training and consultancy services, right? So I paid for my, IT. I did some, training with them, and then I gathered some industry experience, from them. As at that time, I started as a software engineer. I did a little bit of Visual Basic, .NET, V, C Sharp, just to mention a few. So by the time, I went back to school in 400 level, I was already, Microsoft certified, and, and that was the beginning of the tech journey. Someone mentioned the need for a mentor. I believe it is really critical. Again, this was a different time from now. I know a lot of things have changed, especially in the tech landscape. As at that time, the local industries don't really trust Nigerian software engineers. So most of the organizations, you see them, bringing in Indians and foreigners to come and, handle our software management processes and all that. So my mentors at that time told me to probably discontinue, software engineering and look for, consider another field. And that was what got me into networking, basically. As at that time, we only had Cisco as the only company that was really doing networking. Huawei wasn't into it. Dell, HP, all these other players were not really into networking as at that time. So the only option I really had then was to, pursue the field of networking through Cisco certifications, right? So between 400 level second semester and 500 level, I was able to pass the associate exam for the networking, field as at that time. It was called CCNA. I don't know if it has changed now or not. So we finished our program, and then we had like a 6 months break after graduation to go for NYSC. Some schools, depending on the calendar, might not align properly with the NYSC, timelines. And so we had those 6 months, and I used those 6 months to, prepare for the professional, certification of the Cisco exams. So we went for NYSC. We had a year of NYSC. Our brothers have spoken about how important that year is. So during NYSC again, I was posted to a school. I checked myself out of the school, and I went to an organization. The guy said he wasn't going to pay, and I was willing to work for free. So this is going to be my first advice, guys. Like I think Brother Abdulsalam has said, people have different journeys. People have different paths to take. Some will get that, lucrative job on time. Others will not. The first job I got, I will say I worked for free in that firm. but I was really interested in learning. I understand why we have different financial commitments. I understand that we have, different things we are pursuing and all that. But for some of us, we might find that kind of job on time, while for others, we may need to go through, the humble, processes. So I was in that organization working with them for free, and that was where I did most of my NYC. Now, during that process, a friend of mine who was a classmate heard about a job opportunity and forwarded the application to me. We both applied. We went for the interview process and all that. We passed the interview process. Everything was going on fine until they asked us if we had finished our NYC, and then we said no. And then they said under the law, because it was an international firm, under the law they cannot take us. Now that brings me again to my second advice. Depending on where you are right now, whether you're in school or elsewhere, that person sitting next to you, or that friend that you have in your class or your faculty or your department, is as good as it gets. You people really need each other. You people need to travel together. You people will have to work together. You may end up making friends after school, but there's a high chance that some of those friendships will be superficial. Trust me. Today, if I have an event, we've graduated almost 20 years ago. Today, if I have an event to do and I'm inviting people to that event, trust me, 98% of the people in that event, or let's say 90% of the people in that event, will be, from University of Ilorin. Either my classmates, my setmates, So you guys should hold yourself tight. Now, something else you need to know about the real world is that alumni really matters, right? Inshallah, I have handled a lot of interviews. I'm still in the middle of an interview process right now, trying to get someone into our organization and all that. I am almost always drawn towards someone who has University of Ilorin in their CVs, right? I will be there rooting for the person to at least, meet the expectation of the job, and then we can always. This is one thing during our time, I don't know if it has changed now. This is one thing Lautech students know how to do best. And that is why you see them in a lot of places. They move together, they provide information, they give themselves updates. I don't know who taught them how to do that thing. I don't know how they manage to do it, but most of my colleagues there will tell you, Lautech, go to any of the firms, you're going to see them there, right? So I wasn't able to get that job. After NYSC, I was in the job where, I had to be working for free, right? After NYSC, as at that time, Naira Land was very, very popular, So I was scrolling through Naira Land one day. I saw a job advert. I applied for that job, and alhamdulillah, I got that job. Now, this is going to bring me to my third, advice. You need to be part of a community. These days, you guys are spoiled for choice, honestly. We have Ilorin data science community, we have University of Ilorin, alumni. We didn't used to have that back in the day, right? Your chances of, getting the right contacts, getting the right kind of jobs with Allah's mercies, through all those routes, it will make life easier, generally speaking. So please try as much as, especially some of you who are interested in tech, data science, software engineering, network engineering, cloud, DevOps, whatever it is, be a part of the community. So there's a Muslim in tech group that we formed. We have almost 1,000, it was formed solely for software engineers, right? You'll be shocked at the kind of information people are posting in that group, the kind of jobs, people are getting, and the kind of exposure. So you need all these, communities, all these forums to be able to understand, how to navigate things, one, and to be able to get access to the right information, right? Now, going forward, there is something that I would like to say. Some of our brothers have alluded to it already, but I would like to emphasize on it. Needless to say, you have to be humble. I have seen humility getting people to where talent will not get them. And trust me, I have seen quite a few. You know, try and be humble, be that person that is easy to work with, be that person that everybody likes in the office, be that person that, because there is a high chance that your first job will be the only job you'll get through going through the interview process and all that, you know, whereby you have to write an exam, you have to write a couple of tests, you know, to get the job. Subsequent jobs will come from either referrals, recommendations, people you have worked with. If you come across as someone who is very difficult to work with, they will pass you over. I have seen this happen a million and one time, even in promotions, right? Typically, if an organization wants to hire people, right? Promote people, they will ask around within the organization, what do you think about this person? If everybody has something horrible to say about you, you are not going to get that job, even if you graduate with a first class or whatnot, right? And another thing is, during our time, we've heard a lot of stories of someone who is so super duper in an organization, and he decided to resign, and then the organization is begging him to stay. That is not true in the real world. Most of these organizations are big, and they are ready to, you know, pay anything to get their job done. What I'm trying to say in essence is, you may be talented, you might have graduated with a 5.0 GP and all that and all that. What is most likely going to propel you at the workspace are two things. One, Allah's rahmah, you cannot rule that out. Then two, ability to work with people, ability to connect with people. I know someone, the first job she got, she finished from University of Nigeria as well. In fact, she finished from BSS, Business and Social Sciences, right? I don't know if you still have that faculty, you know, combined today. She's in tech today. After her first job, every other job she got was through her boss. As her boss is moving from one organization to the other, he's poaching her. They are going to the UK together now, you know, through the same means, right? Be humble at work. You get to the office in the morning, you want to take breakfast or something. Please let me know if I'm taking too much time so that I can stop. So you get to the office in the morning. Yeah? Hello? Hello, can anybody hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so you get to the office in the morning, you want to have breakfast or something, you want to go out of the office to grab, you know, some snacks and all that. Grab like 4 instead of grabbing for yourself only, right? Bring it to the office, drop it on your table, take one of it, tell everybody to, you get the whole idea. Be that person who is easy to work with, and also be that person who is willing to take on challenges. Another thing I've seen in the industry is that there are so many people who are sophisticated in explaining problems. If they explain how a problem is and why they are not able to resolve it and all that, you'll be wowed and all that. What most organizations are looking for is someone who wants to raise his hands and say, let me take that on and I'm going to, you know, work on it and provide feedback, right? They want problem solvers. They want problem solvers. So please, please, and please, these things might come across common sense and all that, but you'll be shocked at how much hard it is. By the grace of the Almighty Allah, I work with Cisco Systems. We just recently hired a guy. He doesn't have a degree. He doesn't have any certification. He doesn't have all those, you know, expectations that you would, you know, expect an organization to request for. But he was given that job. Now, why was he given that job? The drive, the willingness to work, the humility, and not. I can go into his story, but we'll have to. That will take us off tangent altogether. You know, so we've seen, you know, some of these things, and it is really, really critical. We need more Muslim representatives. There's an improvement in the number of Muslim representatives from our time to now, but we still need more. We need more Muslim representatives in the job market, in the tech world, in the labor market, you know, generally. So please, please, and please, lastly, one last thing I'm going to say, because I know I have 5 minutes or so, is that for those of you who are interested in tech, one mistake I see people make a lot is that they want to wait till everything aligns, everything is ready before they start their tech journey. So the excuse will be that I don't have money for materials. I don't have money to write the exam. I don't have a mentor to work with and all that. We're in an era of information overload. That is what I call it. You have more than enough information to work with right now. If you go to YouTube and type how to start in tech, you will receive a gazillion output. You'll have to sort through it before you know which one to go through and all that. What I'm saying in essence is that the opportunities are there. Most of these organizations don't really care about your credentials. That is the honest truth. Your credentials just say a lot about you. In the end, they want to be profitable and they need someone who can drive their business towards that profitability. So even if you don't have the money to write the exam right now, even if you don't have the money for materials, I know someone on YouTube, on Twitter, who was encouraging people to go into tech, right? And a lot of them were giving him all of the excuses. And he was like, okay, for you to be on Twitter, that means you have a phone, right? I can teach you how to start in tech with your phone, right? The first day we had over like 300 applicants. By the third week, they've shrunk to like 30 or 40 applicants, So there's always a way out if we really want to do something. We don't necessarily have to wait for everything to align before we start in that direction. Apologies for streamlining my discussion towards tech a lot. That is because that is what I know. For those of you who are interested in tech, I wish you all the best. You can reach out if you need any guidance or anything. For those of you who want to join the Muslim in Tech group as well, you can always reach out with your numbers and then we'll share with the coordinators and all that. So I think not to take too much time, I think I'll just stop at this point.
All right.
Yeah.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much for your contribution. We ask Allah to reward you abundantly and keep you firm and make your endeavors more successful. So, and from our panelist is Engineer Jide Zubair. So, could you please make your contribution, sir?
Assalamu'alaykum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum assalam
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome, sir.
So, okay, my name is Abdulkareem Olajide Zubair. I live in Australia. I have worked in the Middle East before, and I started from Nigeria with the likes of Nasir and Adri. So both of them were my classmates. I studied mechanical engineering. Okay, I don't want to keep this conversation beyond what it has been. So what I'm going to be doing is there is a course I was preparing, which I wanted to take to universities, and it is still let me say on a scratch paper, right? So I'm going to share my screen now and just buttress most of what my brothers have discussed with you already.
All right, sir. We would like to have that in a few minutes, sir.
Can you see anything?
It's
okay, it's loading.
It's almost sharing, sir.
We can see, sir. We can see it now, sir.
All right, awesome. So I am going to be jumping just from to the last 3 slides. Okay, what your outlook to life should be. It is very important to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, and when you know him to the best of your capability and understanding, it shines light on your path. It gives you guidance, and you have peace of mind with yourself and with God Almighty. Okay, and you cannot underestimate that effect in your life. The fact that knowing God and serving him. And the second thing you need to know is yourself. You have to know yourself. If you do not know yourself, you run into troubles, because it is important for you to know what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. And always, at every point in time, maximize your strength. If you are good at, for example, mathematics, do anything that aligns with that. If you are a very hardworking person, do anything that aligns with that. Okay, if you are a very quick thinker, do anything that aligns with that. If you are not good artistically, don't try to be a Picasso. That is not your strength. Okay, and don't worry, it doesn't matter. It is okay not to know some things, but those things you know them very well, right? And there are some points I've put here, which most of them have also been, right, emphasized by my brothers. So you have to be completely honest with yourself and with people around you. When you try to lie to people, what you do is you tell the guy you are lying to that is an idiot. Okay? And trust me, everybody sees through every lie. So please, when you get, even from now on, anywhere you are, be completely honest with yourself and be completely honest with the people around you. Be humble. Be humble. Don't let that big grade you think you have, that handsomeness you think you have, that swag you think you have, don't let it get into your head. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Have integrity, be supportive, support people around you genuinely, without thinking of getting anything back from the support you give them. Be collaborative, be understanding. We all have our weaknesses. We all have our shortcomings. Okay? Understand those shortcomings that you have and that other people around you have, and don't stress over it. Overlook them and focus on the good you have in your friends and your family. Be sympathetic, be compassionate, network, stay in touch with people and share information genuinely with people. On that, I'll tell you a story. When we left school in 2004, I was in Ilorin playing around, waiting for NYSC certificates, and somebody came to Target Junction to inform me that some brothers were in town, they needed 4 engineers. Okay, and they needed 4 engineers that had 2-1. Of course, some of us, we played in the university. I didn't graduate with 2-1, so I just called some of my friends that were in Ilorin, 4 of them. We all went for the interview. They gave them the job, right? That was 2005. In 2006, I got a call from one of these guys. He was in a training, a PDMS training organized by PTDF. He called me to say, there's this training going on. The number of people that were registered for the training are not around. So they have asked them to call any of their friends that knows how to use AutoCAD, right, to come. And he told me, it was during Ramadan. I remember I was practicing AutoCAD 3D on my computer. He told me, Jide, where are you? I said, I'm at home practicing AutoCAD. Please come to so address. He gave me the address. Even before I got upstairs, he called me twice. He said, what are you doing? I said, I want to just go and, dress up. And he told me, don't hop on Danfo or Molue. Please get a taxi. I got a taxi. He told me, I called 3 of you. I called you, I called another brother and another brother. But I want you to be the first person to get here. To cut the long story short, I hopped on a taxi, got there, got the training, did the training. And after the training, the federal government gave us internship with some design company. So that is how I got my first major job in Nigeria, with Amazon Energy as a piping stroke mechanical engineer, designing for the likes of Mobile and all of that. Okay. Again, stay in touch with your friends, share information, don't compete with anybody, compete with yourself. Make sure you are the better self, you are the better version of what you were yesterday. Keep learning, be genuine, and do not envy anybody, and do not be bitter. Don't keep bitterness or don't keep bitterness in your heart. It hurts you, it hurts everything that is good in you. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to be discussing with you guys is the opportunities to prepare for. Engineering is good, and there are so many things that are out there you can do. You can be a project engineer, you can be a project manager, you can be a piping engineer, a mechanical engineer, a site engineer, a construction engineer, a network engineer, a data engineer, a planning engineer, a scheduler, an electrical and instrumentation engineer, an estimator, an estimation engineer, a proposal engineer, a design engineer, a mechanical engineer, a structural engineer, a water engineer, a civil engineer, a project coordinator, a cyber security person, a software engineer, a data scientist, and a business analyst. And you can be so many other things that are not on this list. So don't constrain your thoughts, your mind, your vision, your prospect to just being the mechanical engineer that you've gone to school to study. You could be anything, okay? You only have to understand that what the market wants is value, and what value can you give. So keep searching within yourself for that value you can give to the market, and that is where you have to be, and that is what you have to chase. Okay, and this will take me to the last slide. Okay, besides the DYDS, what more? Yes, you guys have done Fourier series, Laplace transformation, Jacobian, all those nonsense. Don't get me wrong, they are good. They may be useful for some of you guys when you get into proper engineering company where you have to do proper and critical design. But I tell you, most of us have not done any of those in the last close to 20 years that we left university. Okay, so what you need to know now are your Microsoft Office suites. You need to know your Word, you need to know your PowerPoint, you need to know your Excel, you need to know Access, MS Project. You need to know Primavera 6 for scheduling project. You need to know AutoCAD, Navisworks, SolidWorks, PDMS, Caesar 2, HISIS for those that studied chemical engineering, who wants to become process engineers, AutoPipe, StartPro, Tekla, Revit, PLCs. If you want to be a network person like my brother Mubarak Ahmed, do your Cisco certification and other things. If you want to be in the data space, learn your Power BI, your Tableau, your machine learning, your SAS, your R, your C++, your C#, your Java, JavaScript, Python, SQL, and Abacus. Learn something. And this goes into buttressing the point people have made about your NYSC years. NYSC years, most of the time, Nigerian youth see it as their waiting time. That may be true, but what do you do with your waiting time? Do you want it to skill up? Would you want to use it to skill up or not? That call is yours. But please, brothers and sisters, don't waste it. That might be what is going to, put you ahead the curve of other people around you.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Jazakumullah khair. We are so much grateful. We ask Allah to reward you abundantly and put more success to your activities. So, and for our last contributor from the panelists, that's engineer Qadri Mustafa. I don't know if you're still on now. Engineer Qadri Mustafa, I mentioned earlier, but he was not online. So I don't know if he has joined us now. Engineer Qadri Mustafa. Oh, it seems not with us. So perhaps there's a question for the speakers or the panelists The coordinator is going to have all of these questions available soon, inshallah. So I think it's almost time for Salatul Dhuhr, and perhaps there's any question. Okay, I think there's someone raising their hand here. Could you please unmute yourself and ask the question, please? Now, someone is raising their hand. Please, could you please unmute yourself? Okay, it seems there's no question. Scholar Qasim, brother Scholar Qasim, I think there's no question from this end again. So is there anything to bring forward to the people?
Assalamu'alaykum.
Wa
I
alaikum
think
salam.
someone is raising up his hand.
Oh, okay. I think we have one person now. Could you please unmute yourself and put your question forward, please?
Assalamu'alaikum warahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
So I'd like to ask how we can connect with our speakers after the program, please.
Okay, and that's going to be a question to the brother coordinator, brother Scholar Qasim. Could you please answer that question?
Yeah, would reach out on that, inshallah. To reach out.
All right. Okay. Jazakumullah khairan. So is there another question? Any other question or contribution? Okay, from this end, we say a very big jazakumullah khairan to all of our speakers, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us keep you firm upon all of the goodness and to help us put more successes to your activities. From our guest speakers, Engineer Jamiu Tomori, Engineer Dr. Abdulkareem, Aduagba Ganiyu, and Scholar Adedigba Muhammed, and to our panelists too. We say a very big jazakumullah khairan to you, Engineer Nasir, Olabisi, Engineer Mubarak Ahmed, Engineer Qadir Mustafa, and Engineer Jide Zubair. We say a very big jazakumullah khairan to you. We ask Allah to reward you and put more successes to your activities and endeavors too. And we are so much thankful to you for your worthy night knowledge shared. Thank you very much, sir. And please have a good other day ahead, sir. So Scholar Qasim.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah, could you please put a word of thanks to our speakers?
Yeah. Assalamu'alaykum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, I want to use this medium to really appreciate the presence of our speakers. We really benefited from your wealth of experiences, and we promise that would try to implement them all. Ithnillah. We ask Allah to make it beneficial for every one of us. We ask Allah to increase all of you in goodness, both in this world and in the hereafter. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair. So till other time to have something like this, and we hope to see every one of us in a very good places. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you.
جزاكم الله خيرا.
جزاكم الله خيرا.
Good